AITA for saying, "Good job," to my son after he scribbled on my husband's home office walls. I've been painting a mural for my unborn baby's nursery and my son, 3M, has been watching and helping me do it. He knows it's a gift for his little brother and he wanted to do the same for his dad, so he went into his home office and scribbled all over the walls while my mother-in-law was watching him. When we saw what he had done, our son was really excited, but I think my husband was in shock because he was just looking at the scribbles without saying anything. I told my son good job and that it looked really pretty, but he needed to use paper next time. Instead, after he said he made a present for his dad, my husband never said anything in front of our son, but when we were alone, he was upset that I said, "Good job," to him because he doesn't think I should be praising him for vandalizing his office. I told him he just wanted to do something nice for him and we could have the office repainted, or I could turn it into a mural if he wanted me to, but he's still upset at me for encouraging his behavior and he keeps locking his office so our son can't go inside again. AITA? There is a middle ground between saying, "Good job," and punishment. You should not have praised your son for drawing on the walls. Husband is right here. YTA. YTA. I'm all for non-authoritative parenting, but this is taking it a step too far. Telling him, "Good job," instead of explaining why it's wrong right off the bat reinforces the bad behavior. I would also be upset if a kid drew all over my office walls. This is a really hard one for me to decide, quite honestly. I think the more positive approach you took is understandable, but I also think your husband and his irritation towards potentially encouraging it was also valid. Wish there was a no one sucks option. Edit. A kind soul reminded me about Nah. He's 3 and mimicking something he saw his mom do in his unborn sibling's room. This is super normal behavior that doesn't warrant getting angry over, especially given the clear reason for it. Wow, what a beautiful drawing, but next time let's use paper, your easel, etc. here. Come help me clean this up. Is not in fact bad parenting. It's good parenting. People just don't like it because it isn't fear, consequence based. The only place I can see that you went wrong here is not having your kid help you clean the walls immediately. Nah. Edit from NTA. Though, not all parenting and discipline requires punishment. ETA. I actually don't think that your husband is ta either for locking his office door so your son can't get in, at least temporarily. That's setting a boundary, which is okay. ETA. Y'all, I'm aware that she didn't actually say the words in my comment. It was an example of a healthy response in line with what she did say. I don't think her response was perfect because she didn't ask the kid to help her clean up. Hope that clears things up a little. YTA. The proper response was, "I know you wanted to help decorate like daddy, but you cannot ever color on walls without permission. You didn't have to make a traumatic issue of it or punish, but clearly communicating was in order. Setting boundaries is part of good parenting. You are supposed to be training the little human to function well in a big human world." Nah. A 3-year-old is not responsible and is emulating a parent. This should be used as a teaching moment. Have him help paint over it and explain that drawing on walls is only something grown-ups are allowed to do. Maybe put some big paper on the wall and tell him it's okay to draw on that. But in the moment, I think what you did was okay. No need to completely break the kid's heart. YTA. I'm sorry, but "good job" implies what he's done is right and absolutely won't teach your son anything other than further misbehaving. You could have explained it to him without enabling it. Nah, but you picked the wrong wording. Saying "good job" implies that he did the right thing, and stating to use paper next time is probably confusing. Because he doesn't know why what he did is different than the mural. You can acknowledge that the intent and picture were nice, while still saying the action, job, wasn't. You can tell him the drawing was nice, while also telling him that he can't draw on the walls or anything but paper, without mommy or daddy being there and asking their permission. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with your husband now locking his office. Was he never told that he can't go into daddy's office? Because even if the intent was nice, if he's not supposed to be in the office, that should be talked about, too. YTA. Bet you wouldn't have the same reaction if the kid did this in the nursery, or your bedroom or your living room. Soft YTA. Because it could have been managed better. I don't think your son's intention was to vandalize. He saw an adult in his family, a point of reference in his life, doing something, and he imitated, believing he was doing a good thing for his dad. At that age it is normal behavior. Anyway, the walls in the home office are messed up and this is an inconvenience for your husband. I understand why he's pissed. But why did Mill, who was supervising the child, do nothing to stop him? I think you should sit your child down and try to calmly and gently explain to him why he shouldn't do this anymore. He alone is unable to understand. If you don't intervene, you'll soon have all the walls in your house messed up. YTA. Because the phrasing, good job, will confuse your child. That is praising him for doing an action we don't want. He's only little and will misunderstand. Some bad parents make the mistake of conflating wrong actions with being a bad person, i.e., my child broke a vase accidentally, so they are bad and inconsiderate. Other parents want to avoid this mistake of making their child feel like a bad person, so they tell their child their actions were good even when they weren't. This is you. However, the ideal parent can teach their child that a good person can still make mistakes, and that it's okay when that happens. You don't have to tell him that his actions were good when they weren't. But you also don't blame him or punish him for an honest mistake. Keep it simple. We don't draw on walls without permission, but you can draw a nice picture for daddy on the paper. Mommy had permission to draw on the walls before, so that's why she was allowed. It's nice to give people presents. And it's nice that you wanted to give a present to daddy. But in future, give him presents on paper. You can even help him do a drawing on paper to give to his dad to reinforce the correct behavior. YTA. You shouldn't have told him, good job. You should have told him he shouldn't have colored on the walls. Did your husband have a talk with his mother about her failure to keep an eye on your son? She was supposed to be watching him when this happened. YTA. Yes, I understand why he did this. And kudos to you and your husband for not losing your tempers. He's 3 and he didn't understand that drawing on the walls was wrong since you are doing it. But your husband is right. You shouldn't be encouraging this unless you want the kid to keep scribbling on the walls, which your husband clearly does not. And what's the problem with your husband keeping his office door locked to prevent it? Good job, Op. YTA. I'm kinda surprised at the consensus here. I am also a parent to a 3-year-old little boy. I would say NTA. He learned from you that you were doing a good positive thing by painting his new little soon-to-be sibling's room. Also that it was a gift to them because you love them. He loves his dad, so he wanted to do the same thing. He's 3. He isn't going to connect the dots that it's okay in one room and not the other. He was really happy and excited about showing you guys his work. It would have broken his spirit a little if you reacted negatively. I think you did a good job showing him that you appreciate his efforts to show his love for his dad, and letting him know that next time it's best he draws on paper instead of the walls. Nah, look, Your low saw parent paint on walls as a present for unborn sibling. Your low mimicked the action for a present for dad. You praised the art and told him to use paper next time. That is good parenting based on the age and situation. I don't blame your husband for being upset though and locking his office. It is his personal space and he can determine who he wants in it. Just reiterate with your son that only in special circumstances should art be done on the wall. But he needs to ask you or your husband. Otherwise, art is best done on paper. NTA he should be asking his mom why she let the kid vandalize his office instead of watching him. Nah, but I'm a part-time business creative person, so I sympathize with encouraging that. I'd also be pretty irritated if a 3-year-old was in my home office messing around at all, much less wrecking the walls. So I sympathize with your husband. I also think it's good that he spoke to you privately about it afterwards so as not to disagree in front of your son. Why are you upset that he'd locking his office? That's actually the correct response to the problem. I get your approach, but maybe good job was a step too far. Try, it's very sweet you wanted to do something for daddy. But
if you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.